Hi, and welcome to this week's episode of Money with Alpha, where I have the lovely Raylene or Raylz Wynyard on the podcast. Welcome.
Hi.
When I first met you, and we've only known each other for a few months, we're part of a women's networking group where we're sort of
Mhm.
deeper conversations and that. And I thought, oh, I really love what you do, and you have such a beautiful energy. So if people who are watching, you'll be able to see that. Otherwise, you'll just have to take my word for it if you're listening. And when you said Rails, I was like, and then I got this invite, I think, on socials for Raylene. I was like, who's Raylene? I was like, oh, Rails. Okay, got it. What do you prefer to
Ask
be
my
called?
mum. I'm Rails.
Yeah.
Look, I forget to answer to Raylene. Unless, yeah, I just completely forget. I won't answer. I'm so used to being called Rails. If it's
Yeah.
Raylene or the full name, it's normally my mum.
Right. Yeah. And then
Yeah,
I don't know what full names seem to have a connotation of like, oh, you're in trouble or you've
I'm
done
in trouble.
something. Yeah. Yeah. Or it's like something formal. Whenever someone like I get my middle name in there going, okay, is this an application for something? Because I'd never used my middle name. So.
And my husband still calls me Raylene. Yeah,
Yeah.
but probably the only two. Yeah.
So that's become the special people get to call you
Hmm.
by your full name. Go. All right. So what you do is an incredibly valuable, amazing work. And the other thing I love too is that your family is in it. So you provide NDIS,
Yes.
which is National Disability, what's the I in the
Incentive scheme.
incentive scheme? But you basically help people who need help. And
Hmm.
there's, I think, more and more that we're coming to realize in our society that do actually need help. And I think it's good having a system, whether it's a perfect system or not is another thing, but at least having a system to help provide that support. So I'd love to hear a little bit more about you and how you got into this in the first place, and then how you've also managed to bring in your grown-up children into your business too, which is
Children.
amazing.
Well, sure. So just really, I'll give you the quick version. One of our children is 21 now.
Hmm.
He is actually autistic as well. Now, when he was diagnosed, well, that's 17 years ago. He was about 4. There
Wow.
was no such thing as NDIS. We hadn't even heard of autism. I didn't know what it was,
Hmm.
and it was very scary. Um, as we started to learn and develop and go through the school. So we went through the school, the special ed programs through the school because there was no NDIS. And we struggled with my son being a number.
Hmm.
And what I mean by that is that he was being
Yep.
treated exactly the same way as everyone else, and they weren't really getting to know him. He was just put under an umbrella,
Yep.
and everyone was the same. And
Yes.
he was really, really struggling. So by the time he finished year 12, which he did, finish year 12 very well,
Yeah.
um, there was an incident where he had a support worker come to the school. And I have a very unemotional child. This child has no emotion whatsoever. And for the first time ever, I saw this 18-year-old crying.
Mm.
And I asked why. And he told me, Mum, people think I'm dumb.
Mm.
And I said, What do you mean? And he goes, The support worker came to the school. He talked. Now, my son, I want to add, is extremely intelligent, like
Mm.
extremely.
Yeah.
And they spoke to him like he couldn't even speak English or know ABC or what his colors were. And he was just over it
Yeah.
and crying. And we've never experienced that before.
As an
Um,
18-year-old.
at 18, yeah. And I got upset naturally. Mama
Yeah.
Bear came
Yeah.
out. I went up to the school and they just were so generic with us. They were just like, oh look, autism, they all do this. It's not even a human, it was they do this
Yeah.
and that they do that. So I said that's no, this isn't okay. And my son wasn't going to get anywhere with that. At the same time, our grandson, so we have a beautiful now 7-year-old grandson, was diagnosed. We started to see the signs, and he was diagnosed nonverbal delayed learning ADHD ASD level 3. So
Mhm.
he was even higher again.
Yeah.
And I was scared about the system that
Yeah.
he was about to enter into. So
Yeah.
I knew, though, that I couldn't help him myself if we were going to go down this area, but I wanted to be educated so that I knew the background of NDIS because it
Yeah.
was in by now, that I could at least know what's going on and we weren't going to
Navigate
get
the
bullied.
system.
Yeah, bullied around. My son, his dad, actually who's 25 now, was actually a support worker at the time. And my husband then had worked in civil engineering, civil construction all his life. Body was starting to take its toll. So he also became a support worker, and he was a very good one because I've had this personal experience. You can't get this from a book.
No, you've got to have it in your nature.
Yeah, absolutely. And I wasn't doing any of this. I worked in employment services. I was a manager for at one of the max employment offices. I then went into, I was one of the managers for the COVID hotline. And that was dying down as well. And then I got diagnosed with something myself, with MS. And so we all had a bit of a change of lifestyle. We then spoke to my son. We said, if you could run things your way or want it your way, how would you do it?
Yeah.
And he just started talking to us, and we realized that we could do this ourselves. It was around that stage, the company my son was working for, unfortunately, was stopped for doing some fraudulent activity. So we learnt from that as well, which we know is a thing in the NDIS industry. So we decided to take it on ourselves, and I decided to go down the registration path, and which is very full on,
I can
very
imagine.
extreme.
Lots of hoops.
Yes, but we did it. And then by the time that had all come, we had 2 clients that were just amazing, and we started off from there. And then finally, my other 2 children, one was a manager in a clothing store. The other one had just finished school, and the youngest, and they said, look, we want to do this as well. So we were like, sure. I didn't think not everyone would actually fall into it. We don't all have the same personality. We don't all have the same thing. And I was thinking, you want to do it.
Yeah.
But they ended up being probably the best.
Yeah.
But it wasn't just that. They were helping with little things. My son helped design the logo. Explained to us, Mum, let's not wear uniforms on shift. This is why. And just things like that. And we've managed to now function as a registered company. We're coming on 3 years now.
Wow.
All working together. We don't fight. They know the difference between mum and boss.
Yeah, work mum and boss mum. Yep.
Yeah, that helps that they're adults. So definitely helps. We also have other staff as well. So it's important for me to see, for them to see that my kids don't get any sort of special treatment. It's if anything, they get it worse, I reckon, a bit harder. But we function really well, and now we weren't expecting to end up like this at all. It wasn't the goal, but that's what's happened, and it's probably the best thing ever.
Yeah. Oh my goodness, that's such a beautiful story, and there's so many things in there that I want to unpack. So the first one is, like, as a business owner, like, you set out because there was a problem that you wanted to solve, or you saw that the current solution just wasn't cutting it, and you wanted to improve it because of your lived experience, especially for your son. So how did this shift go from, because working as an employee and then becoming a business owner, there's a huge, like I always say, running a business is like personal development on steroids. How did you make that shift?
Look, the first thing we wanted to do was when we decided, so we did have a client that wanted to work with my husband in particular when he left, when that company shut down. So we went through that, and that's pretty much how it started. Now, you don't need to be registered in this industry. You don't need to do all that. However, and I actually didn't quite understand at all what was involved. A lot of people think you just get matched up with somebody and you become their friend and you go to coffees and you go and have fun stuff. No, it's actually not. And that's what a lot of people thought. So the shift was just really the education of it. I pulled back from the actual hands-on work with the clients purely because with the MS, if I'm flared up, I'm no good to anybody. So, but I do that. But becoming a boss in this industry is very, very scary. It's the
Mm.
legalities, the red tape, the help forms. It's very overwhelming,
Yeah.
but it's all there to help you sleep at night. And as much work it is, it really it's there for you. But yeah, becoming a business owner in this industry was probably wasn't not just being a business owner and being responsible for your participants
Yeah.
and their needs, but the pressure I felt with my staff and my kids, I was now fully responsible for their daily lives in
Mm.
living.
Yeah.
Snowballing on effect. Two of my sons work for us. Both of them have children. So now I was like, oh my gosh, and I'm supporting my grandchildren too,
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
it is a lot. It's a lot.
Yes. There's a lot of responsibility. Yeah.
It's a lot of responsibility if you're willing to do it.
Yeah. But you
And
love it?
I love it
Yeah.
because I'm learning so much.
Yeah.
Every day something changes. And I love it because I know the feeling parents get when you
Mm.
finally get that break and you've got someone you trust to give you that
Mm.
respite and that relief. I understand the frustration of the system.
Mm. Yeah.
Um,
Well, you've experienced it yourself firsthand
yeah,
as a
I
parent.
like I said, I don't think you could do this without some sort of personal experience. I know you can, but I just feel like, oh, how? Because there's something in you that you can't think of the money, you can't think of your hourly rate, you can't think of anything else but
Mm.
that person's needs. And if you're not concentrating on that,
Yeah.
then that's when it goes belly up.
Yes. Yeah. So what sort of services do you provide?
Sure. So we have from minimum needs to high needs. So
Mhm.
at the moment, we do a lot of um, community access. So that means going to your appointments, going to different things that you're already included
Yeah.
in, like you've already been doing, like your hydrotherapy. Yeah, you go to a cafe for lunch and stuff like that, but that's not your job.
Yeah.
Um, um, then we also do a more higher need. So we also have a cell home. So we're actually in that person's home 24/7. We have staff in there.
Mhm.
They're involved with peg feeding and very high dietary needs, wheelchair bound, non-verbal.
Mhm.
So we have staff in there. We have other staff who are, clients who we've had since school and now they're in work. And
Yes.
so we have a support worker with them at work to help with the training,
Yeah.
helps the employer. Um, yes, it's different all the time, but that's what we
Mm.
do. We service a lot of people with different needs. Um, if there's a need, we have two wheelchair access vans.
Hmm.
So we're very mobile with our clients in wheelchairs.
Yeah.
Especially we've been able to get them to airports and all those sort of things. So yeah, it's
Yeah. Amazing. So how many
um,
staff do you have?
at the moment we've got 11.
Wow, that's quite. So
Yeah,
how do you
and that,
keep all the different personalities? Because you've got your children as well as other staff. How do you
oh,
manage it all?
you know, um, just we keep things. I find like we like to laugh. We
Yeah.
like, and I say this in how I say is that we have everybody in a group chat because we're not always together. We're
Yes.
everywhere,
Yeah.
spread out. Some of our staff still haven't met because it
Yeah.
hasn't been available to
Geography.
do so. So we are all in a chat together. And one thing that we do is everything I put in there, I make it humorous. So
Hmm.
because we don't want anyone to burn out as well. It's very emotional.
Yeah.
It's very much so when you've got all these different personalities, like you said,
Yeah.
as long as everyone's in there for the one goal, it's
Hmm.
okay.
Yeah.
We're fine.
Yeah.
We keep things very lighthearted. And I say that I know that's a weird answer that I've just got to keep everyone laughing, but it's actually the truth. Um,
Well, they're probably dealing with some heavy stuff, so a bit of light
you
relief.
do. We don't
Yeah.
just take the clients, we take on their families and their
Mm.
fears. Parents have looked after their children for 20, 30 years, and now all of a sudden they're expected to just hand you their child. That's not going to happen overnight.
Mm.
And so we have their fears. Some families have their own personal issues that even though they're not part of you, you end up involved in because you're
Yeah.
there all the time. So you need to have that space where you can come back and debrief. We have some brilliant services that a lot of companies use because EAP, so they can actually, if they ever need counselling or anything, that is free service for
Yeah.
them. But we find just laughing at everything, the jokes. We're probably not very PC when it comes to our but we have to. We have
Yeah.
to laugh, we have to make jokes, we have to mock each other, we have to do all that
Yeah.
because you need a bit of an outlet. And it shows in our client participants, sorry, they're so relaxed with us because we're relaxed and they get the real us. They don't
Yeah.
get, they get the cheeky, well, gosh, we,
Yeah.
yeah, they get the everything. We
Mm.
call, because we're a family, they know we're a family. I make it very straight up that
Yeah.
our children work in it.
Hmm.
Um, and a lot of them love it. We've got a lot of like Australian participants that call themselves cuzzies. They don't call themselves participants. They're like, so I'm not a cuzzy. And I was like, sure, you're a cuzzy. So they're not,
We might need to explain that to some listeners because you're from New Zealand.
well, yeah, we call everyone, so a cousin, like, we're all
Yeah.
cousins. That's what
Yeah.
we call each other. But
Yeah.
I think because we're Kiwis and we've all sort of come and we're all, there's a few of us that are Polynesian as well, not all of us, but they just like, they're like, I want to be a cousin. And we talk to them like that,
Yeah.
sort of thing. And so it's
Very
very
familiar.
relaxed. And
Yeah.
that's how I think we've managed to stay how we are.
I
Yeah.
think that's beautiful too, because humor is when they say humor is the best medicine, that's not just a
Yeah.
phrase. That is actually
Yeah.
for real. If you're laughing, you cannot be sad. And
Yeah.
sometimes there's that whole, even if something's really, I've had a few kind of family things happen recently, and I don't know, I saw something on a show and I just got into the most fit of, I just got the giggles. I could not stop
Yeah.
laughing. And at the end of it, I was like, God, that felt really good just to laugh. So to have that relief sort of built into your culture is really special.
Yeah, it's just really hard. I've got to try and figure out ways to maintain that because, like I said, I'm not always with everyone. In
Mm,
my dream world, we'd all have be in one space, and you can see it all, but that's not
yeah,
possible. So
yeah.
you've got to really always be with your staff, checking in with your clients and things like that. And
Mm,
I think I treat my staff like they're one of my kids, and they all just
mm,
respond like that, and
yeah,
they're all happy to be. Yeah, it's a lot
yeah.
easy to. It's very easy.
Yeah, well,
Yeah.
that's good, but you've come at it seeing them as humans and other sort of an extension of the family, which is
Yeah.
nice too, because you're going into, well, you are your when I say you say collectively, like your staff or your team, they're going into other people's homes, and they don't want to just feel like
Mm.
somebody's there, just it's a job, and they're just counting the minutes until their shift's over. Like that's not nice for anybody, the provide service
They
provider or
feel
the
it.
recipient.
Yeah,
Yeah,
they feel it. And you're allowed to feel that way too. Sometimes you just,
yeah,
it's a lot. And when you're there, if you've got to that point, that's when I really encourage everyone to ring me. I do encourage mental health days. They're important. Not every week, like I tell my children, not every week. You do not need a mental health day every week, mate. Um,
I used to give my
but
daughter one a term at school. I was like, you
yeah,
can have one mental health day a term.
but some days I do get it. I do get it. And they need that space. So we're very lucky that in a way we keep everyone together so that if someone does need that break, they'll go, hey, I'll do it. I'll swap shifts with you. So they'll swap clients over or something like that, just to have that break up.
Yeah,
We only do that if the clients know you.
yeah.
We always introduce everyone to at least two people. So the sudden changes if someone's sick or anything doesn't
Doesn't, yeah,
scare
which
the
is,
bejesus out of everyone.
yeah,
Yeah.
that's a beautiful approach because I had some care organized for my dad last year, and he had a different care worker each week. It was meant to be the same person, but they were constantly either sick or they just didn't show up, and I'm there just going, that was not what this was meant to be. This was somebody you could actually have a bit of a relationship with, to give
Mm.
me a bit of a break, and to just give him someone else to interact
Yeah,
with as well.
And so we always sort of, we match up with your personality and your hobbies and interests and stuff like that. But we always have two people, and that was because a main person and a backup.
Yes.
And that's from my son. You could not just have a relief teacher there when you rocked up at school and not given
Mm.
us warning.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
I've climbed the school roof at the high school at least 3 times to get him off.
Yeah.
Um,
Oh dear.
and things like that. So we understand you can't just do sudden changes. You can't just do that. And no one just wants whoever rocking up and coming into your home.
Well, this is your sacred, like your not
It's
sacred,
a
your
space.
space, your
You
sanctuary.
got to
That's how
know
I see
the
my home. I
person
wouldn't want,
and
yeah, I can't even get a
yeah,
cleaner because I'm like, I want it to be somebody that I don't know, have a relationship with, and it's just, someone to clean my
you've got
house.
to
So I
trust
totally
that
get that.
person. Yeah,
Yeah.
and you build that relationship and build that
Yes.
rapport.
Someone I can sit and have
And
a chat. Like, sorry, just on the
yeah,
cleaner thing, my grandma had a cleaner for decades. She had the same guy. We used to sit and have coffee and cake with him on a Saturday when he'd finished cleaning. Like we had a
yeah.
relationship with, I still remember him. I can picture him. I know
And
his name.
we do that.
Yeah, yeah.
We do that as well. But yeah, when you just get a complete stranger, just you don't know who's knocking on your door and who's coming in, that's not
Yeah.
a comfortable thing. And we took all those cues from our son and his relief teachers at school. And
Yes. Yeah.
I always used to say to school, please tell me as much if ever you can. I know sometimes it's sudden, but if you can please give us the heads up because we know it's going to be a bad day.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
and so that was one thing that we were really stiffler about in our company is making sure you've got your
Mm.
soulmate and your backup. Yeah.
Yeah. Absolutely. And so how does, because the NDIS system is there's a whole structure to it. And
Mm.
like from a financial perspective, how does that kind of play in? Do you ever have to have financial conversations with your clients, or is that all kind of taken care of in the back end?
Um, you know what? I thank you for bringing this subject up. It's my favorite topic.
Good. I love talking about
No.
anything financial, so yeah.
So in a nutshell, everybody gets approved for whoever gets approved for NDIS, they get given a budget.
Hmm.
Okay, and that's their budget. Their budget's normally broken down for them. You get so much money for this service, whatever.
Hmm.
Um, but then there's also a lot of hidden costs that people can charge. So a company can charge a one-off sign-up fee for $695. Um, we've never charged that, and there's a reason for it. That's $695 straight out of their plan, which for me is about 5 hours support, 6 hours support work gone, and
Yeah.
that's hours for my staff gone.
Yeah.
So, and you don't need it. Honestly, once you've got all the paperwork in, it takes 10 minutes. It takes 10 minutes to
Yeah.
scan it all in. Um, there's things like that. We cap our travel. So
Mhm.
a lot of people, it's normally NDIS set the rates. Okay, so we
Mhm.
don't set the rates. NDIS set it, and
Yeah.
they set the maximum, so you
Yeah.
can go there or under.
Yeah.
A lot of it's $1 per kilometre.
Mhm.
People are charging to travel from their home to the person's home all over the world. Do you get paid to go to work, like to drive from your house to your
It's
job?
As my ex, it
No.
was my ex tax accountant had on, it's not even tax deductible to drive from your home to your work
I,
because it's not
does
seen
that make
as, yeah,
sense?
yeah.
Just and so we've been seeing like people get billed every week from going from say Brisbane to Wynnum,
Mm,
return 700 something dollars because
wow.
they're charging $1 per kilometre, they're charging a call out fee. Some people are charging $180 call out travel fee and they live 5 minutes from the client or the yeah. So we just swished all of that. So we changed our structure. We don't charge per kilometre. We have a client that we do probably about 300 kilometres a week
Hmm.
driving with them to different
Yeah,
appointments. Instead of going $1 per kilometre, we just worked out how much petrol we were doing per day. And
yeah,
it saved them so much money. So financially, yeah, we're always trying to save money on their plans because then they lose support hours and my staff lose work if we
yes,
don't treat their plans properly.
yeah.
Um, we've seen people charge $600 for a disco of their plan, and all they got was a Domino's pizza and a parent with a playlist on a speaker box. $600.
That's an
Um,
expensive discount.
yeah. But so I guess that's financially, that side of things is so important to me
Yeah,
because their plans only go for a year, then they get reviewed. Not all of them just get rolled on. If you don't spend it wisely, you can end up they've got no money left, and you're
mm.
working for free because you can't.
They still need
Or
help. Yeah,
yeah, or just yeah, you just find that you've got to do it right. You've got to do it right. But I look at, oh gosh, that's 5 hours out of there. That's a whole day of support work.
yeah,
Gone for what? So the financial side is probably the most important side
yeah.
because that's the part that seems to be causing the most headaches in this industry.
Yeah. And so that really, really speaks to your values. And I'm a big believer in combining, understanding what our core values are and
Yeah,
matching our money to that. And you're a beautiful example of living your values and doing it in a way that's still profitable. Like you can still run a business that supports everybody and
yeah.
still also keep the best interests of your clients and your staff in mind. So where did those core values or those values come for you? Like was that instilled in you growing up? Or where did that all come from?
Um, I don't know if it was instilled in me growing up. I think it's just the mum in me.
Yeah.
I I just think, if that was my child, it's been my child. No,
Mm.
no, don't waste my child, sort of thing.
Yeah.
Like, I used to get when my son was younger and at primary school, I was always getting things to sign. Can you sign this? Can you sign this? It means our school can get this and our school qualifies for that. And he ended up, I felt like he was a funding kid.
Yeah. Yeah.
And we weren't getting some of the stuff they got, we didn't even need or use for him.
Yeah.
And I felt like he was a funding kid. And I didn't want my participants to feel like we're their funders, they're our
Yeah.
funders,
Yeah. Yeah.
you
They were just
know?
dollar signs.
Yeah, yeah, because that's when it just goes all wrong. And I think that's what it is. It came down to probably that experience of my son where I was like,
Yeah. I had that
don't use
experience with
my
the,
son for that. Don't use my
yeah.
son for that.
Yeah.
Not it was nonstop. And
Yeah.
I think I sort of kept that when we were doing this, like, don't use
No.
these people for that. That's not, yeah.
No. But that's an empathetic approach to life, having experienced it and not want it, like you wanted to fix it. It's a little bit
Yeah,
like you needed to disrupt the industry in a way that you could do things your way based on what you saw. Because some people will go, so there's often two paths. You can don't go down the path of, oh, well, everybody's doing it, so I'm going to do
yeah,
it too. Or everybody's doing it, but it's not right. I can see why it's not right. I've felt it, so I'm going to do it differently so that I don't treat
yeah.
people the way that I've experienced, and I don't want anyone else to experience that. So
I
and that's a
don't want
beautiful
to
thing.
sleep at night. I
Yeah.
want to sleep at night.
Yeah. It's amazing how people can justify things though. So yeah, that's lovely. So
Absolutely.
yeah, so how does money then show up in your like your bit because you've got your business and your business is
Mhm.
there also funding your like you
Yes,
said you've got your two of your children and your grandchildren's lives and then your lives like do you feel that pressure or like,
I
how do you
do.
then manage all of the different moving components because you've got so many I mean you've got the business finances and you've got
Mm.
the personal finances. You don't obviously have to go into too much detail, but how
No,
do
it's
you feel
fine.
like managing all of that?
Yeah, it can get pretty hard.
Yeah.
Um, However, like I said, it's when it comes to the business and stuff, yeah, I feel a lot of pressure because if mum doesn't do her job properly, then, you know, it
Mm,
affects my sons, it affects my grandchildren.
mm,
Um, Now my it affects my other staff. My other staff have rent to pay and bills to pay and things like that. So
yeah.
yeah, I think about that nonstop, which is why we have to do these things like saving money in the plan.
Hmm.
And just so yeah, I'm
The
constantly,
bigger picture. And do you use
constantly
accounting
thinking about it.
software? And is there software for like staffing, what's the word, like
Yeah, so
scheduling and yeah,
shift care has been brilliant for me. And
yeah,
shift care's also just introduced a new NDIS certification side so that I can now, if there's modules or certificates I want my staff to get, I can actually just assign it through there now.
right.
And once they've completed it, it goes straight into their file with shift care. So that stuff is brilliant. Zero is um, took me a while. Uh,
Yeah. But you figured out. So
I
did how
figured it out.
yeah, did an accountant help you figure it out or did you just
Yes.
sort of yeah,
No,
good.
in the end, I just was convinced I was doing something wrong, and I
Yeah.
was. So they came and fixed it for
Yeah.
me, showed me what to do, and understood it
Awesome.
because going from sole trader, like in life, to company
Yeah.
was such a big difference in business
Yes,
structure
it
that I
is.
had to lose some habits
Yeah.
from sole trader
Yeah, you
and
have
learn
less
a whole new
control.
language.
Yeah, you've got all less flexibility, I should say, when you're in
Yeah.
a company. There's certain things you can and cannot do.
Yeah, sometimes I'm like, why on earth did we do this? But
Yeah.
then I think I am so glad we did.
Yeah. Well, that goes to show the importance of having a good accountant and having the right support
Yeah,
around you,
yeah.
because we don't get taught any of this stuff either. So and knowing your numbers is important as well.
But one of the most important things to me as well is that my son that I'm talking to you about, our 21-year-old,
Yeah.
our 20-year-old daughter also only has half a heart. So she's had 4 heart attacks since birth.
Oh, wow.
She caught a virus when she was a baby, still at the hospital, and it affected her ever since. And she lost oxygen to her
Mm,
brain during one of her heart attacks, and it's really affected her memory, very much so,
right.
retaining information.
Mm,
And so things like for both of them, finding work
mm,
and interviewing and all that sort of stuff is just was like we knew there was no way.
yeah.
But I also knew I wasn't going to have 2 kids sitting on my couch.
Yeah.
So um,
You gotta work
we
your way
were
through this.
we were very lucky to be in a position where we found the most amazing client
Yeah.
um, that they share because this
Yes.
person needs to, this person loves them. Our dog's involved as well. Our dog is involved in the business as well. He goes on quite a few shifts. He's always in demand.
Yeah, I would be like, where's the dog? I literally booked a
Yeah,
hotel once specifically because there was a dog on reception.
yeah. And but it enabled my kids to have a job
Yeah.
and they didn't have to go through the interviewing process and all that. They're still working. And my daughter has almost saved almost, and when I say almost, I mean within the next month, have saved a house deposit.
Oh my gosh, Rails, like what,
Mhm.
how
And
amazing is that?
she's 20.
Yes.
Yeah. And so we were, because she doesn't go anywhere or do anything or have a life, so she's like, no, she doesn't like spending anything. So
Yeah.
we were able to create these 2 jobs for her and him
Mm,
and my other sons, of course, but for those 2 in particular, where they didn't have that fear of
yeah.
everything else. My son can't be in crowds amongst people, so he's got the perfect client. They're
Yeah.
almost the same age. The parents love them. Everything's perfect. But yeah, so now they have work, which I really don't feel they would have if we weren't doing this.
No, it
Yeah.
would have been a lot more traumatic. And
Yeah.
also having that stability and that support and also feeling like they're valued and they're actually contributing something valuable
Yeah.
as part of their life too,
Yeah.
is that part is priceless. And being able to provide that as a mum, I think is just sensational. And not only that, you're also, your daughter is becoming money savvy. Like at the age of 20, she's only saved up a deposit for a house. Like that's incredible. Like on her own. I think that's fantastic.
Yeah. I looked at my mum and dad. I was talking to my mum and dad. I was like, um, and they were like, yeah, we didn't have that when you were born.
No, no. Oh, that's fantastic. So how do you then instill like, because we're all on our own, we all had to learn about money as well because most of us didn't get taught it. So how do you
Yeah.
kind of build your own or learn on your own journey and then also model that for your children to the point where at the age of 20 your daughter has this nest egg already?
Oh, look, my husband and I have done every dumb thing you can possibly think of from when it comes to finances. Because we've been together, like we've been married coming up 25 years.
Oh,
We've been together since we're 18. I was 18. I'm 46 now.
yeah,
Um, we had kids extremely young
yeah,
and just did everything dumb. Everything. We were getting credit cards chucked at us. We were getting credit left, right, and center, but didn't have the
mm,
income, but still did it.
yeah. But
So
that's our
we learned the
system.
hard
Mm.
way.
Oh,
We
no,
learned the
yeah,
really hard way. We had to like pay off debt and get our credit rating back. Honestly, we actually had to
mm,
do that, and so luckily we were able to do all that a couple of years before we even got to where we are now, like even starting the business.
yeah,
So I think it's very easy for us with the kids because the kids remember a lot of it.
yeah,
They remember the days that we struggle street. Or camp was coming up, and I was a bit stressed about paying for it. Footy fees, dance fees, you name it. They
yeah.
remember it all, so they're a lot more appreciative.
Mm,
Especially with two of them having children of their own now.
yes,
Um,
yeah.
they're just a lot more appreciative. So the only example we set for them is, well,
What not
first
to
of all,
do.
what not to do, but then second of all is how you get through it
Yeah, and
and how
that's
you pay
people
it
talk
off
about,
and
yeah, resilience.
lose
That's
your
the
pride.
resilience. Yeah,
And we've always been really stiffler with them about loans and credit cards. None of them have ever had a credit card. None of them have had a loan.
yeah,
Everything's been brought, save up and buy it that way. We've still had to learn teach them more about, you still need credit, obviously,
mm,
to build that up.
yeah,
But pretty much, yeah, everything like that, we've just gone on, My
yeah,
daughter was actually going to buy a car. She was going to use all that money she saved and go blow it on a car. And
mm,
I spoke to the lovely Grace and the
yes,
referral sisters,
yes.
told her that my daughter had saved all this money, and that was when we were like, whoa, stop. And that's when we got her on the house track. That
Yeah.
wasn't her idea originally. She was just going to go buy it, spend it all on a car.
Yeah, but she had the guidance, and that's the
Yes.
important thing to do as a mum. And then also because sometimes our children don't like to listen to us, so you brought in someone else
Mhm.
who's incredibly knowledgeable and human. And Grace is wonderful. She has her own children too, so she can come in as like this sage, advisor who's reinforcing what mum's saying
Yeah.
so that she's more likely to listen to it.
Well, if I was back then at her age and I had all that money and I said to my mum, I'm going to go buy a car, she would have just said, oh, what kind?
Yeah,
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 and whereas I'm like, you're going to draw all that money out and just go waste it on a car because I've learned so much,
yes.
over the
Oh,
years. And that's when I grabbed onto the lovely referral sisters and said, I
yeah,
didn't even know my daughter had this deposit, okay? She was so nonchalant about it. And
yeah,
when she finally showed us and I was looking at everything and I realized what she was going to do with it, we sort
yeah.
of jumped in
And
and
this
figured out
is
how to distribute both.
Yeah, and this is why it's important to give your money a purpose. Like I harp on about this a lot in the work that I do. And because what she was doing was, she didn't know what else to do with it, so she was saving it, which reminds
Yeah,
me a bit of me because because my parents blew a lot of money. I remember coming home one time and the house was dark because my mum hadn't paid the electricity bill.
yeah,
And there was just debts and it was credit cards were paying other like it was just credit paying credit. And so I grew up like that. And then I was like, okay, I don't want to be like that. So I would just squirrel money. I didn't know what to do with it. But then I studied accounting, so that already got me out of buying the car thing. But again, I didn't really know what I was doing, so I ended up blowing some as well because we do have lessons to learn.
I always look at my kids and
Yeah.
worry that they're repeating what my husband and I were like at their age, but they're
And
not,
they no, but
thankfully.
they even though they might a little bit like I got into credit card debt at one point,
Yeah,
and then it wasn't huge, but it was enough for me to go, oh my goodness, I'm turning into my mother.
and
So
easy to do,
yeah,
very
they
easy
may
to
they may
do.
still do it a little bit, but it's important for them to know, even if they do, they know how to get out of it because you modeled that as well. So
Yeah,
that's really good. But yeah, having that purpose, like helping your daughter redirect her focus from a car, which is a depreciating asset, to a house, which is going to give her a lot more of a future.
yeah,
Whether she lives in it or rents it out or whatever she chooses to do with it, it's a good starting point, especially for a 20-year-old.
yeah.
So yeah, I think that's tremendous. So well done you. and not repeating patterns of the past because it's
Yeah,
sometimes the easy path, and what you've done is not the easy path.
no.
So that's sensational. So where to from here? Like what are your plans for your business and life? What would you like to do?
Well, hubby and I talk about this a lot. We never wanted to be big
Hmm.
because I find it so hard to. The bigger you are, I sit there going, oh my gosh, that would just make me rock. I'm going to really need a lot of help. And
Yeah.
when you start getting all the extra help and everything, you start losing bits and pieces, right, of what's
Yeah.
going on.
Yeah.
Um, but I'm 46. My husband's 49 this week. We're off to Bali actually on Thursday for his birthday.
Yeah.
Um, but we want to retire around 55.
Hmm.
And we think it's doable. We
Yeah.
know what we need to do. I spoke to another lady who's an NDIS who's
Hmm.
just gone and increased her level of services to
Yeah.
take the next step. We've just gone through the same thing. We've just gone through another audit to
Yeah.
increase our services. And I think it's about we're working to create time.
Yeah. I love it.
And like
That's
I said, we have these beautiful grandchildren, the
yeah.
7, 5, and 2. I get to bring them here all the time. They know this place. They even know how to operate the wheelchair access bands. They're little workers. They'll probably end up working for us, probably.
Yeah.
But I want to be able to grow, but not to the point where I just don't know what's going on under my nose.
Yes.
And that's really scary for me because it's so easy to do in this industry when you've got people everywhere.
Yeah.
So fear has really stopped us
Hmm.
from going further because I keep thinking, oh God, the more people you take on, it's just such a responsibility when you've got someone's life in your hands. Um, but yeah, fear, but getting over that fear,
Hmm.
meeting new people to help and guide me, which is what's been happening,
Yeah.
making sure they're the right people, which is a lot of my instincts I use for that.
Yes.
I deal with a lot of people who are as qualified as you can ever think of, but I
Mm.
can't resonate with them.
No. And
Um,
that's we're humans. We have to connect, and we
yeah,
connect on levels where we've got that heart, that soul connection.
yeah,
And especially because you are very driven by that, which is beautiful. And it's not uncommon, but not super duper common, especially in a business environment too. So you'd have to connect on that level.
yeah, absolutely. But to answer your question, what's next is we are going to increase our services. We are in the process of bringing on more people for that. But at the same time, I'm hoping everyone is understandable and how slow we're sort of taking it because it's a
Mhm.
very daunting things. You just can't jump into it. Blows my
Yeah.
mind when people do.
Yeah.
Um, we want that's where we want to be, but we don't want to be to the point where we lose that personal touch and you
Yes.
become our shift. And that's the main thing. When my daughter had her heart attack, we lived in the Ronald McDonald House for 6 months.
Hmm.
And my sons ended up going to school through the Ronald McDonald House.
Hmm.
And even though they were healthy, they were in a school with all these children with cancer. Some
Hmm.
were burnt from head to toe, and you could only see their eyes and bandages. And my sons were only like 5, 6, 7 at the time. But I really feel that taught them and um, gave them the skills they need, not just for this work, but in life
Hmm.
in general, and being a parent as
Yeah.
well. Um, with my sons, it's very important for me that they're parents, first and foremost. And so their rosters are actually scheduled around both of their partners' work, so the
Yeah.
mum's work as well. But their rosters are scheduled around so that my sons are actually home more than with the children than the actual mums by
Yeah.
themselves. And so we've kind of flipped the role there and that as well, which I love because it's
Yeah.
important they're
Oh,
dads.
yes.
It's important that my daughter-in-laws can go and be themselves as well and play soccer and do everything else as well because for their health.
Yeah.
And My one's a footy player. He's just come back from living in London for 2 years.
Hmm.
The other one is a dance champion. He's actually one of the current Australian hip hop champion. He's the Australian hip hop champion for the Mega Crew. His crew is so we've
Yeah.
represented Australia 4 years in America. The last 4 years, we've
Was
gone
that the
over and
video
done
I
that.
saw recently you posted?
Oh, that was yeah, they just won another championship just
That's
gone.
amazing.
And he's 24. His son goes to dance with him. His son and his partner, they've been to America. My other grandchildren have been to London with us to
Mm.
get their dad. We can't do that if we don't have a well-oiled machine and look after each other, not
Yeah.
just in business, but in that. But my sons can't afford daycare. So,
Yeah.
and my youngest one is 2.
Mhm.
So, but daycare would just take all their things away. So we roster them so that one of us is always off to have our grandson when he's on shift. So we do a lot to help each other out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What a beautiful community and support network you've created.
But we try not to kill each other too, because trust me, you do. You
Well,
wanna
it's
I'm
yeah.
like, can I be a mum or can I be a boss right now? Because I'm about to say two different things.
Oh, I
One's
love it.
one's legal, one's not. So
Yeah. So you kind of like need to preface it. This is your boss speaking right now. Then
but they
blah, and then
do
you're like,
get
okay, now
it.
I'll be your mum again.
They do get it and they do help me. I just said, everyone wear your shirts when you're on shift, it's advertising. And my son was like, no. And we were like, sorry? He was like, no, mum, not all clients want the world to know that they've got support workers. And right,
Okay.
especially if they don't have physical disabilities, like some you
Yeah.
get. And some he goes, some people don't, these teenagers that they don't want everyone to know that they don't have friends and they're getting hanging out with paid people. Like that's how, and I'm
Yeah,
like,
that's fair enough.
I never even thought of stuff like that. So
Yeah.
I bounce off my son a lot who went through school. And I was like, son,
Mm.
when this happened at school, how did you feel? He's like, no, blah, 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 blah. And I'm like,
Yeah.
so I have sort of inside information, which
Yeah,
is
well
very
but that's
helpful.
what makes you guys special and so powerful as well. Like you're really like bringing the human
Mm.
element to it, which is sensational. My goodness, I've learned
But
so much about you in this conversation.
but the
Tremendous.
money, the money you do need it. That you do need it. You need it for we do have, yes, it's good money. I'm not going to
Mm.
lie. It's good
Yeah.
money. I feel we pay our staff very well,
Mm.
very well, actually. I've been told. They're like, really? But
Yeah.
they deserve it. They earn it.
Yeah.
They do
Yeah, it's
very
hard
hard work.
work.
Yeah. Um, but we want all the money in the world for us. We translate it into time. My
Yes.
husband and I love being able to have the time we can be with our grandchildren whenever we want. And you've seen I plus them 24/7. It looks like they live with us, but they don't. I just constantly want them. Um, like I say, my son can still dance and work and pay his bills.
Mm.
So he's got this creating his time
Mm.
for him to be able to do his goals.
Yeah.
And so that's what it is. Like we're saying to everyone, don't blow it. We're very open with the kids. They're very open with us. They've all got, now that their little sister's got this deposit for a
Yeah,
house, they're
they're
like,
jealous. Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. Well, we got some catching up to do.
Yeah, that sort of, but that made them flick a switch as
Yes.
well.
Yeah.
Going,
Bit of peer
oh
pressure.
hell,
It's amazing what it does.
yeah. I I try and give them advice and stuff like that, but half the time they look at me like,
Yeah.
mm.
Which is why it was good that you brought Grace into that conversation with your daughter because then it's an objective third party coming in telling them something. You're like, oh, okay. Yeah.
Well, it's funny you say that because when I actually suggested it to her when she told me the whole thing before I reached out to Grace, she actually took it as if I was trying to kick her out. Like,
Oh.
and she was like, "Don't you want me to live here?" Like that's how she
Yeah,
took it.
yeah.
And
Yeah, yeah.
it
Oh
wasn't
dear.
until I spoke to Grace and then I re-explained things to her that she finally that
Actually,
she
yeah,
thought I was
gosh, it's
kicking her out.
amazing where where our brain goes. And like you said, like even with your son and how, wearing the shirt with like there's things that we don't comprehend, and it's being open to what someone else is saying and doing it in a way that's not judgmental, but you want to have the
Yeah.
curiosity to go, okay, so why did you respond that way or react that way? Why did you take that suggestion like that? And then when you found out why, you're like, oh, no, 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 that's not what I meant. So let's keep that communication line open so that you can understand what my actual motives are, not the ones that you think they might be, but we just haven't spoken about it. So yeah, openness
It's
is
great.
important. Wonderful. So
Yeah.
how do people then find out more about you if they're looking for a service, an NDIS service provider with like heart and empathy? Where can they find you?
So I'm very lucky. We are located at the Buzz, which is powered by the YMCA.
Hmm.
So we are in Yarrabilba. Our office is literally 5 seconds from my house, and I still drive. But
Yeah.
anyway, um, but uh, so everything here in Yarrabilba, we're at the community centre. It's a brand new building. It's got tons of different services and things here, and we've been very lucky in the sense that being down here, everyone knows we're here. We get promoted in the community quite a lot through the YMCA and things like that. But I will be very honest with you, I have never advertised once.
No, well, that's awesome. Organic
It's
marketing is
very
even better.
weird.
Yeah.
Everyone's been word by mouth, word of mouth.
Yeah.
I do have a Facebook page that I'm
We'll
completely
put the
useless
link.
on.
I was going to say, we'll put the link in the show notes if anybody wants to follow you.
I apologize. I'm so useless on that.
Yeah.
And that's only because I don't get a lot of time for social media and stuff like that because something's always happening.
I'm
Um,
not surprised.
yeah. And then it's been seriously word of mouth.
Yeah.
And the beautiful people down here at the Buzz, people come in, they want to know what services are here, and they find out that I'm here. But
Yeah.
I don't have a website. Um, or anything. We've been going for 3 years now. We now have like 11 staff. We've got 9 clients, none of which I've advertised for. I really should start, but at the same time, I believe that it will happen is when it's meant to. I
Yeah.
may not even need to. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like everyone's just fallen into place when they were supposed when we weren't looking,
Mm.
when we didn't know we needed them, and
Yeah. No, that's a beautiful philosophy. There's
yeah.
so much beauty there, Rails. I'm so happy to have met you and to find out a bit more about you.
Oh, thank you.
So I will wrap up the official part of our conversation there. So
Sure.
that, but yeah, thank you so much for coming on and sharing all this beautiful wisdom
I hope
and
I didn't rant on too much. I get total
no.
verbal diarrhea when I start talking.
Not at all, but this is the beauty. These are things. There's so much in this that we need to be reminded of. The kindness, the empathy, coming at things from the right, approach, and what money really is, which is just allowing you. Like I love that working to create time, and the life that you want to support your kids and you and your husband and all of that. It's just absolutely beautiful. So thank you so
Thank
much.
you.
All right,
Thank you.
everybody. I hope you all enjoyed that conversation as much as I did. Have a wonderful week, and I will catch you in the next episode.